is a very tedious and annoying job, so I'm just gonna bring you in here and show you the process. I've already done these 3 on the intake side, and I'm gonna show you the 4th one. So first thing, you take this little clip off, pops right off, and actually I'm gonna measure beforehand. And what I did to make things easier was I had the range of feeler gauges. I took all my feeler gauges out of the little thing so I don't mess with them. But I have a range of, this is in spec, and anything outside of basically these 2 is either too tight or too loose. So I start with the loosest one actually. So if it's bigger than this, which would be 0.23 millimeters, if it's bigger than that, then we're out of spec. And you also have to make sure the cam lobe is in the upward position opposite of the follower finger. So we're gonna come in here, stick this in between, and we can fit that through. So that means our valve is too loose on that one. Let's check this one. And that one I can't actually get it in, so that one's good. So we're gonna mess with this one. All right, so next thing we're gonna do is take the follower finger off, and I'm just pushing with a screwdriver gently, and we're gonna clean it off so we get a nice reading of the thickness of it. Okay, get our digital caliper zeroed out, measure our thickness. So that one's about 2.20, I'm rounding up, millimeters. My gauge is a little bit off. So we're actually gonna go 4 millimeters bigger than this to make up the slack that's in that valve. So we're gonna go 2.24, and ECS provides 2 of these kits because, as you can see, I've already ran out of the 2.24s. Very popular size. Grab our 2.24, keep this in our old pile, pop this guy back on the magnet, and we're gonna drop this right back on the valve, just like that. All right, and then we're gonna put our cam follower back, slide that back into place. If you don't have a car that's had its oil changes kept up on, this rail here makes it, the follower is very sticky on the shaft, and sometimes hard to get these things in here. So you just kind of have to wiggle them in place, and then, yeah, there we go, moved a little bit more, and it'll eventually go. I should actually probably put a little bit of brake clean in there, because all that old gunked up oil is not helping that thing slide, I don't think. The other thing is, if you can't completely get it on, you might actually have shimmed it too tight. That's better. See how the brake clean kind of broke up that old gunked up oil stuck in between there? Okay, so we're gonna press that down a little bit, and then finally take our feeler gauges, and I'm kind of grabbing the middle of the road size, and see if it still fits in there. Okay, too tight for that one. Let's check the minimum size. A little bit too tight for that one too. So I'm actually gonna take that out again, go one size smaller. Slide that follower back in place, push down on that. All right, let's see if our minimum fits now. Actually, no. Oh, there we go. Okay. It just kind of got stuck in between there. Okay, so that slides in and out fairly easily. Let's step it out one size again. Okay, that fits in there, so we're good. All right, so there's one done. That is the process. So I'm not gonna film every single one because it's literally rinse and repeat, but that's essentially what you do. And there are two specs, one for the intake and one for the exhaust. I was told you want to be in sort of the middle range, not on the too tight or too loose side when you're actually adjusting it. You can only get it so much because these jump in 0.04 millimeter increments. So there's really only so much you could do to dial it in. So as long as you get it close and it's in a safe range, should be good. We got everything mostly back together. I just wanted to kind of wrap this video up and mention that probably 10-15 of the valves were out of spec. I put the intake valves kind of on the tighter side of the spec, thinking that over time they'll loosen up a little bit. And then the exhaust valves, kept them a little bit on the looser side because those usually tighten up. So overall, wasn't too bad of a job, just a little bit tedious. Yeah, so the main issue I ran into was getting those cam follower fingers pushed out of the way, especially when you have a higher mileage car. Like I said, I would probably soak those down in a little bit of brake clean or some sort of solvent to loosen up those things and push them out of the way so you can get to the actual shims, and then it'll make your life a little bit easier. And the other thing you want to do is inspect all the bolts on the Vanos assembly and also check on the exhaust hub side that the little fingers that go onto the Vanos oil pump haven't broken off or distressed in any way. With 140,000 miles on mine, it actually looked pretty good, so I'm not going to touch it. And I'm probably not going to touch the Vanos until I get actual Vanos codes reported by the DME. So I'm not going to deal with that right now, but I am going to eventually address the rod bearings in probably the next video with this car. This is probably going to be on hold for a little bit because I'm going to move over to the vet because the engine is finally almost done, and then kind of go from there. One thing I should probably mention is don't forget this little oil drain line for the PCV system. I forgot about that when I was taking off the cover here, and it kind of bent the line. And what I'm gonna have to do now is go underneath and loosen the bolts that bolt that to the actual engine block, so I can move that in position to bolt that line back up. So a little bit annoying. And then the other thing is I am replacing my fan clutch because you could see that this one I'm pretty sure was leaking oil out of the front and wasn't doing its job. So we got a brand new assembly going in. And my car was overheating a little bit in traffic, so hopefully it solved that issue. So overall, this car's coming along, and yeah, just taking a little bit at a time. Thanks for watching, guys.